So it doesn't really matter. You're doing this at turn 6, but it doesn't really matter. What you're doing is you're coasting a little bit before you brake. Right? You want to be on the gas and then onto the brakes.
Yes.
Right? So at turns 3, 4, and 6, you're not so much trying to slow the car down as set the front of the car for the turn. Right? So you're braking in order to get the weight onto the front so that when you turn the front wheels, you get some turn in. Right? And then you're going back to the throttle right away. It's not about slowing down so much as it is about weight transfer.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's important that you're on the brakes at the right place, which is relatively late or very close to the turn-in point, so that you're still on the brakes a little bit when you're at the turn-in point. Does that make sense? Right? And that's really important at 6, 4, and 3. Right?
Including the 3.
Return in 3, like you're driving through here is very, very good. Right? So in 3, you're doing this less, but you're sort of coasting a little bit up to the turn, like you're lifting off of the gas, and then you're going to the brakes. That way to stay in the gas.
And immediately to the brake.
Yeah, you're not bouncing, you don't slam it.
But there's no
there's no gap in between.
Yeah.
Right?
There's once I tap on the brake, once the weight transfer, then you go turn in.
Yeah.
You use that traction to
make
let
a
the
turn.
car turn.
Yes.
Right.
And it's really important here, and here. Right? They're all fairly fast turns that you don't really need to slow down for. Right? So you're not braking in order to scrub speed. You're only braking to set the front. Right? It's at 5 you're genuinely braking to slow the car down, but it's also about setting the front. And there you're doing a better job of it. Right? So it's also part of the same thing is being committed when you go to the brake, you've gone to the brake and you're going to brake. So it isn't brake, right? It's I'm braking. Right? Same thing with the gas. When you go to the gas, you want to get on the gas. Right? Especially in this car, which doesn't have a lot of power. You got to be committed with your throttle and stay committed with your throttle, otherwise you lose momentum.
Exactly. What about me entering the corkscrew here?
It's fine.
Because I brake and then let off after the crest.
You have to. You have to ease off of the brakes as you go over the crest, and then brake harder to just get the speed right. The corkscrew is slow. It just is. Right? The only thing that you need to adjust in the corkscrew is the exit.
Yeah, that part.
I know it's a little scary.
Yeah.
Right? But right now you're keeping the car very tight and very bound up when you're exiting, right? So you're getting to the bottom of it and you're kind of fighting to get back across the track to set up for 9.
The speed.
Huh?
That'll reduce my speed.
It's slowing you down. Right? It's also keeping the car unbalanced.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you want the car to come out of the corkscrew, go through that compression. The compression gives you lots of grip, which is why it's not a problem really in terms of the balance of the car. Because you have all this compression, all this extra grip, but you want to relax the steering a little bit so that the car naturally tracks out. You don't want to force it to track out. You want to allow it to track out, right? And then you want to hold that radius and bring it back. You don't want to turn back. You want to just hold the radius and let it come back, right? So your hand movement going through the corkscrew is turn, straight, turn, relax, hold, and then into turn 9. And the entrance to turn 9, you're waiting for it, and it's very slowly turn and wind into the apex. And at the same time, you're giving it gas. Turn 9 is very fast. Right? The other thing that you're starting to do at turn 9 is you're trying to drive it to the track out. Right? Don't worry about it. It'll track out if you're going fast enough. If you're not, don't force it to track out. Right? You want to unwind the steering, but you also want to hold it with a little bit of input so that it makes that arc and brings you around for 10. Right? So don't drive it to the track out. Allow it to track out. Right? Don't fight with the car. The car's going to go where you want it to go. You just have to let it. 11 you've got. When you did it right, when you downshifted early and you were well over and you turned in just where the paint ends. It was beautiful.
I missed the timing.
You missed the timing.
All right.
All right.
Tony.
No problem.
See you later.
See ya.
possible. Very good, very good. Throttle, unwind. Use that berm if you have to. Make that turn as wide as possible.
So use that berm?
Yeah, use the berm. Pretty much everywhere. If it's not raining, it's not slippery. You can use the berm. Here especially.
Like this?
Yeah. You can hit that berm wall when you go on it. It doesn't unsettle the car. Nice. A little more input. That's